Hey, my name is Levi Jones, and in this video, I'll be showing how my Texas Hold'em game, written entirely in Rust, works. So this game works entirely in the console. You run it just by saying cargo run, and it greets you with a welcome message, and it tells you how many bots you're playing against. It also tells you how many chips you have. I have an ace and a 6, and your hand is printed out in ASCII art. So I'm going to raise by 10. And you can see all the actions through the round here. So I raised to 10, bot 1 raised to 38, bot 2 called, bot 3 folded, and bot 4 called to match 38 as well. Now, if you know how to play poker, you can tell my hand isn't looking great. But I am going to bluff. So I'm going to raise by 40. And you can see that bot 1 is calling my bluff and raising, but bot 2 and bot 4 folded. And notably, bot 3 is not here because he folded in the first round. So now I'm a little bit worried, so I'm just going to call. And again, bot 1 called the final round of betting. I'm going to call. And bot 4 has beaten me, taken my chips with a 2 pair. This is why you should never gamble. Anyway, it asks you, would you like to play again? Yes or no. All of these user inputs are loops to check for valid input. So if I type something that's not supposed to be in there, it'll just keep asking me. But I can either say yes, and then it'll start a new game. It'll deal you new cards, or I could have said no. So that's how the game works. And now I'll dive into the code a little bit. So the main game loop happens in main. Basically, we start the game, we generate a deck, and shuffle it. Then we deal to the players, and then we call these do round functions. Each one takes how many cards should be flipped, and do round is declared right up here. Basically what we do is we show what cards are on the table, what cards are in your hand, and then for each player, if you haven't folded, we do a player action, and if you're a bot, we do a bot action. We do 4 rounds of that, and then we evaluate who has the best hand. We collect all the chips from the players and we give them to the winning player and print out a message. And then we have a couple game end checks, like if you run out of money, you got all the chips, and if you don't want to play again. So I'd like to talk about how the hand evaluation works, since that was one of the more difficult parts of this to program. So in this eval hand function, we have a bunch of different logical checks, like how many pairs do you have? Do you have a 3 of a kind, a 4 of a kind, a flush, and a straight? Then we combine those in different ways to decide, do you have a full house? Do you have a 3 of a kind? Or do you have a straight flush? These are all based off of vectors with a card struct in them. Cards are made out of a suit and a rank. So I have a rank, which is a struct. I have a suit, which is a struct as well, and then card is a struct based on rank and suit. So down here in the evaluate card functions, such as is flush, we go through all the cards in this vector of references to cards, and essentially we say, are there 5 of them that are the same suit? And if so, you have a flush, return true. All of these work in a similar way. If the straight checks if it iterates through your cards, it sorts them, and then it checks if you have 5 in a row. Get pairs, maps through filters, and says, how many pairs do you have, basically? And it can also check for 3 of a kind or 4 of a kind. But that's essentially how the hand evaluation works. One other interesting part of this that I wanted to talk about was how the bot actions are determined. So, do player action is pretty simple because we just ask the user, would you like to raise, call, fold, and then we just do the action that's associated with that. The bot action, though, is based on this confidence number. So, initially, when a bot does an action, we generate a number, 0 through 200, and then that confidence is affected by if there's a high bet, or if there's a big difference between their bet and the current bet, and they don't want to put all that money in, their confidence goes down. But if they have good high cards in their hand, then their confidence goes up. And based on that confidence value, we determine what their action is going to be. And in the case of the raise action, we raise an amount based on their confidence. So the more confident they are, the higher they will raise. So yeah, that's basically how it works. Thanks for watching.